Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third and final part of our webinar series, Shaping the Future of Work, a sneak peek into Microsoft 365. This series is sponsored by Microsoft. In just a few minutes, we'll be finding out why more and more organizations are shifting to Microsoft 365 to empower, engage, and transform their teams. But before I introduce our speakers for today, let's do a quick recap of our past two webinars. We started the series off with the future of work, handling the millennial and Gen Z workforce through employee engagement, where we discussed generational gaps and technological changes in today's fast-changing employee landscape. Then last week, we were joined by TechOne co-founders to talk about Digital Transformation 101 for growing businesses, lessons from the C-suite. This is where we learned about how organizations can adopt successful digital transformation. Now today, we are joined by an exciting panel of speakers. Our first presenter is actually a returning speaker, Akfash Ladibu, TechOne Sanjay seasoned tech advisor, assistant general manager, and won a few Microsoft MVPs.
Hi.
Hi, Akfash. Next, we have Ashik Niaz, territory channel manager for small and medium enterprises of Microsoft Sri Lanka and Maldives.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Sheikh. And we also have Abdul Qadir Anas, the product marketing manager for modern workplace solutions in Southeast Asia, also from Microsoft.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. And last but most definitely not the least, we have a special guest who will be co-hosting this webinar with me, Lars Jepsen, CEO and co-founder of TechOne.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you very much, Sarah.
Hi. All right, so now I think we have an interesting hour ahead of us, so let's get started. To start us off now, Sheikh, from your perspective, what is the current work landscape like, and why is it crucial for organizations to be digitally transformed now?
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you very much. And it's an interesting question. I think that's a question that has been in the conversations in many of the boardrooms of the organizations that I have personally faced, and even with our partners that has been coming up. Well, it's very interesting how we could put it into words rather. Today, organizations need to evolve in addressing their changing business landscapes. Ideally, if you look into the IT spending, it is driven by the need to meet business requirements. So the digital transformation word is not only by digital itself, it is a word that business leaders now consider as business transformation to drive business results, innovation, and continuous improvements. And that's why digital transformation has taken space, I believe, in business transformation to accelerate their business activities, processes, their competencies, and models to fully leverage the changes and opportunities in the landscape of technology that they adopt. Today, I believe data is the most valued resource, even compared to gold or oil. I think we have come across a lot of social memes, it says. And what we do with data is in the question of our betterment for our organizations rather. In fact, that's why digital transformation is more in line with the business aspect of the transformation. And the word business transformation alone comes into space. These digital these digital business transformations are quite influenced and driven by few following factors. If I may name them, it is on technology innovation, the customer behavior and demand, and the external environmental factors that affects both internal and external stakeholders of any organization. If you look into the technological innovations, which leads to what we call technology disruptions, these transformation is not just about technology innovations. It's also in the disruption of the business that we look into how we adapt technology to betterment in how we transform our business. So then comes in the question for all the business leaders today, do these innovations bring value to the organization? That means, are we investing in the right technological tools, right devices, for example, and with the right talent that could help advise that? Beyond that, there are a few other more questions that the business division also should think about. Are they easily adapted, or is the organization experiencing any difficulties in integrating this new technology? And that is how we at Microsoft, we live that mission to help empower every organization and every person to achieve more with the adoption of these technology. I hope that answers that question. It's a little bit detailed, but I'm quite happy to explain a little bit further.
So, thank you, Ashik. On top of what Ashik just said, and referring back to the first webinar that we did a couple of weeks back on culture change and digital transformation. So, looking at that, so today's workforce in most of these organizations are made out of employees from 3 to 4 different type of generations. And of course, the future employee workforce is going to be from millennials and Gen Z. So these are the type of people who usually use multiple devices and are connected to the internet 24/7, and also likes to work from a home or coffee shop or from anywhere that they can get connected to. And employees have evolved, and these type of people have evolved into more of a digital employee, I would say, or they have converted themselves to be a more smart employee, right? And to cope up with this, organizations also has to be transformed. They also have to be transformed into more of a modern workplace. So a modern workplace basically is needed today to address these needs, like from work from anywhere and anytime using any device, right? So I think that's how the modern landscape have changed over a period of time.
Yeah, like what Ashik and Akash are sharing, it's totally aligned. Many organizations, knowingly or unknowingly, are part of this digital transformation. The reason is because of the fast availability of fast internet and devices which support you to keep connected at all times. And like I said, knowingly or unknowingly, you are using these tools which are on the digital platforms to support you to connect to the end user. It can be to your suppliers or even to your staff, the three critical stakeholders. Also, we need to keep in mind that adopting a digital transformation is needed in this current era, especially when you're reaching out to your end user. Yeah, that's something that we need to consider when considering this digital landscape adoption.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned basically that whether knowingly or unknowingly, organizations are going through digital transformation, right? And one of the factors or one of the reasons for this is because of the employees joining in, right? Now, I think it's interesting to know, like, what are the essential technologies SMBs or other organizations must have in order to really survive or rather thrive in modern times?
Okay, so let me take that. So this is Ashik again. Let's face it, I believe businesses are now operating in an era where having a strong digital presence is essential. At the level of competition, at the level of outset goals to be achieved, and also to welcome, I believe, the goals through services or the solutions that they may want to provide to their own customers. Hence why, not only for the success, I believe, but often simply for the future of growth. I wouldn't mention just rather survive or thrive, but in order to grow their businesses, digital presence is a necessity, and it is a daily essential, I would say. The lack of strong digital presence is thought to be a contributing factor in many challenges that is faced by many SMEs, and this is a hot topic that I was once embraced at a community of young entrepreneurs and some leading entrepreneurs who actually brought in these factors, which half of which are failing is due to them not thinking out of the box and adapting digital. So many different elements actually contribute to the business growth. And these include providing a good level of customer service, minimizing operational costs, and maximizing revenues. So technology actually can help businesses to achieve all of these objectives. Increasing in productivity and efficiency in key to reducing costs and maximizing revenues, like I mentioned before, which can be again invested into growing these businesses. So if I take a little bit in detail, I would say productivity software today are being designed for these decision makings required by our customers. If you look into the businesses to achieve all of these objectives, they require these productivity software to improve in helping them operate in operational efficiencies, replace laborious paper-based processes, and reducing of the costs, which is the ultimate goal, I would say. So the most commonly used productivity software packages nowadays include in terms of their own office internal productivity, their accounts, their communications amongst the employees, and even to their customers, being let alone from email to other collaborative tools that we can offer in today's era. So if you look into the scope of the business productivity software, it has expanded considerably in recent years with the development of cloud and mobile technologies. So cloud-based applications are often ideal for small, medium enterprises because they tend to carry a lower upfront cost and limit the burden of in-house management. So this is very intrigued and well received in many organizations that I have personally faced in terms of their requirements. And it also shows that cloud-based applications today can also be used across a range of different devices. Let it be a mobile phone to a tablet PC to even a desktop PC. And how these connect to one another is the formation of how these cloud-based applications help in collaborating and connecting within the two. And if you look into the business growth perspective, it also depends on acquiring and retaining of customers. And that is key to any industry in any organization, I would say. And for this, it not only requires these productivity tools, but it also requires businesses to provide a consistently high level of customer service. And that also is now leveraged through technology through the means of modern customer relationship management like CRM, ERP solutions, which is also reaching new heights of utility to benefiting both businesses and their customer alike. So it is all about how in today's era, all these technology tools can integrate, can rather talk to one another to achieve that one goal. And that is what today at all the boardroom discussions, including a CEO to CMO to even a CFO to even the IT manager, including the sales field staff, this is a huge pressure and a burden that they've been having. But today we have that technology. It is how we really look into the pain points and how we can address that is the way that we could resolve in betterment of growing an SME's venture and also their business goals rather. So Ara, I think that's kind of how we should really portray in how to enable and grow the business is basically in adapting this technology in the right way is what I would say.
Thanks, Ashika.
Yeah, can I just step in? So actually, my answer would have been slightly different, believe it or not. But I would have said it's not about the technology; it is about the mindset. So technology is widely available. Of course, the whole platform of Microsoft really enable this digital transformation to happen. But it all starts with the mindset of the decision makers to understand both the clients and their drive and what leads the change in business on the day-to-day basis, and internally as well, how to maintain and attract the right talent in your organization by providing a platform internally that, if you look at the picture right in front of you, I'm sure that the now is more a happy workplace than the then, where people are drowning in paper and having a kind of a yoga position and doing your work on an open office, but which still looks cool and colorful, might be more attractive, right? So it starts with the mindset of the decision makers to use the technology available, and then it can be baby steps or it can be giant leaps, depending on your appetite.
Definitely. I think, Lars, you kind of nailed it in terms of, yes, the mindset is definitely a matter, because the point that I addressed is definitely having that right mindset is how we can also adapt. So yes, you're right on point, Lars. Thanks for that insight.
Okay, yeah, it's really valuable. Now, any other insights on this, like Akbash or Abdul?
So on top of what Ashik and Boss Lars just mentioned, right? So in today's work environment, right, teams are often comprised of these multiple generations, right? So we all need different tools and different mindset, like what Lars just explained, to accommodate all of these 3 to 4 generations who make up the workforce today. So these are people who would have comfortable in chatting on a phone, to others would prefer to send emails, and some will even like to have face-to-face meetings. So with employees of this sort engaging in a modern workplace, they start to collaborate with co-workers more regularly. So without the right tools and technologies, collaboration among employees and teams will become ineffective and will impact the organization at the end of the day. So with this transformation in the workplace, we need to introduce technologies and tools which would help solve issues like agility, that is to communicate with team members more efficiently and effectively, and to take decisions much faster. Also, we need to have a look at quality, where data is stored. Today, if you look at emails is in one platform, your chat is on another platform, so data is everywhere. So we need to have a single platform to collaborate and get data from, and to take these decisions. And also we need to look at the innovation piece, where by having a single platform where employees can collaborate with their teams, with their team members, extended teams, they'll get ideas, they get feedbacks, and that helps them to be more creative. So considering all of this, the pain points and the requirements of today's modern workplace, Microsoft Teams, which is part of M365, also Office 365, right, becomes a great tool there. Okay, so we at TechOne, we use this particular tool called Microsoft Teams to a greater extent, which I'll show in the next couple of minutes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for that, everyone. And, that's really interesting, because we talked about, the importance of implementing technology in a company or platforms to help employees collaborate more and be productive, right? And since we are just talking about Microsoft products as well, I think there are still people who are confused regarding Office 365 and M365. What are the differences? Do they have any differences? I think that is something we could give insight on.
Yeah. Thank you, Ara. This is Abdul here. I'll take that question. I think this is a question that has been amongst many, and which we need to help to get them to understand. So let me simplify this for easy understanding. Office 365, or also known as O365, is a cloud-based suite centered around business productivity, which includes applications that we're quite familiar with, like Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. And also, depending on the plan you proceed with, you will also have applications such as Teams, Yammer, Planner, and a few more applications that support to enhance your productivity. Now, Microsoft 365, or also known as M365, is a product bundle that includes O365 plus Windows 10 or Win 10 plus Enterprise Mobility and Security, also known as EMS. As you all know, Windows 7 or Win 7 is entering into end of support by 2020, January, and it is important that organizations start moving to Windows 10. Now, let me drill down to the security portion. It is crucial that all organizations are in a very secure environment. So for an example, let me bring in a real life situation which is currently in the market right now. We've all seen an email that is circulating that the receiver of this email has won $500,000 and needs to respond to this email with a bank detail or just simply share our contact details to get in touch. We've all had a friend who got, or a colleague who got excited or accidentally clicked this link and shared the entire directory. I mean, it's common and it's happening amongst all of us. This is known as phishing, which captures information and starts sharing viruses and ransomware that could lead to losing of data, or it could actually hinder massive financial losses to organizations. This is where Microsoft Securities plays a critical role, identifying emails, links, attachments, and starts scanning for probable phishing attacks. Identify these corrupted links and detonates all possible attacks before the receiver accidentally opens these links. To elaborate further on EMS, I would like to bring in Microsoft Intune. In this current era, we see employees bringing their own devices to the organization. They tend to configure their emails on their devices, and which leads to have high tendency of having very important data on their mobile devices. By having this Microsoft Intune on these end user devices, the organization can block or give access to certain users and devices. And also, for example, if an employee loses their devices, they have the ability to remove this critical data and prevent big losses an organization can occur. Now, why I spent so much time on security is because Microsoft takes security very seriously, and we invest significantly every year on research and development on this era. And I just hope this simplify the differences between O365 and M365.
Thank you very much for that, Abdul. Now, M365 has a lot of features, right? I mean, that much we're pretty certain, and to list them all down would just take so much time, right? But I think what our audience would be interested to know is, what are the M365 features that would be most beneficial for SMBs? Like, how do you think SMBs or organizations could maximize M365?
Well, Ara, that's an interesting question, and my view to that is, and my favorite is Microsoft Teams, which of course I will talk about later on. But to address that, right, let me look into a different perspective there. That is, so like Abdul explained earlier, M365 is basically Windows 10 plus Office 365 and Enterprise Mobility Suite. Right. So the additions, of course, whether it is Windows 10 Pro or Enterprise or and so on, the additions of these products will depend on the M365 SKU, that is either business or enterprise that we select. So when we look into M365, Windows and security are the highlight here. Right, and Windows and security is part of the core in any organization's digital transformation journey. So most of the headlines talking about cybersecurity attacks are usually about big, well-known organizations, right? So you probably would understand that there is a chance that even small businesses could be targeted, right? If these big giant organizations can be victims, why can't SMBs be not be targeted? So, but you may not have the time or expertise to really evaluate the risk there. So there have been studies that have been done, and one of the reports that was in 2018 found that 58% of all breaches in the past year occurred at SMBs, exceeding those at large corporations. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, we have been talking about enterprise organizations being attacked, right? But most of the organizations in the study, which says, have been SMBs. So the threat is real, and discounting the threat can lead to inadequate security protections, right? Hackers continuously monitor the entire market for areas of vulnerabilities, and often target smaller companies precisely because they know those businesses have underinvested in cybersecurity. So most of these SMBs, what they do is they go for the whatever that is affordable, and they build their own security practice there. But and that particular security practice could be breachable by these hackers or these malicious people who want to attack these organizations. So Microsoft, if you take, they have about 1.2 billion devices are updated monthly, right? So out of that, approximately about 800 million devices are on Windows 10, which are monthly active devices, which they receive telemetry from, and the balance is on Windows 8, Windows 7, Vista, XP, which communicate with Windows Update on a monthly basis, right? And they analyze about 400 billion emails monthly. So and of course, don't forget that Windows 7 is facing its end of support in January 2020. So just months away. So anyway, so Microsoft operates about 200 plus global cloud consumer and commercial services. So everything from Outlook.com to Xbox Live to Office 365 to Azure and so on. And with all of those services, they have a tremendous amount of surface area that they want to defend, right? And so they see more attacks than most of the other companies, and on any given day. So they get a lot of information from defending against those attacks, and they study from those, and that is how intelligent security is built. All right, and it is something that is very, very heavily invested by Microsoft, like what Abdul just mentioned earlier, and that is something which is very important in the M365 platform. So Windows and security component of M365, apart from this, so that is mobility and security, is critical, and it is crucial for even for SMBs to consider.
Akbars, if I can jump in here, I was waiting for a time where you had to breathe. I was waiting for you. This guy has to breathe at some point in time, but I can jump in, because we are not sitting in the same room. I don't know if everybody is aware that we are actually conducting this broadcast via Microsoft Teams, and we are in, I don't know, in Sri Lanka, are you all in the same room or what? But at least here, I'm in a different office than Ara, and our IT head is managing this from the back end, and he's here in Philippines, and then we have, I don't know if anybody is in Singapore, but at least I think I just wanted to add a few things here. First of all, somebody once told me, which was very interesting, and in aligning with what you're saying here, is that Microsoft is the most attacked organization in the world, and that really is one of the reasons why the security is much better, because Microsoft is constantly under attack, so constantly on the fence, always guarding. There's not, let's go home and switch off and see what happens tomorrow. There's people 24/7 all over the world. The other thing which is important for any organization actually is that the way that hacking works today is not that many smaller companies will say, why would anybody want to hack us? But it's not that there's some group of hackers sitting in some dubious country, without mentioning names, sitting and trying to hack into a small company and steal their client database or things like this. What happens is that it comes out by emails, and these emails are sent out in millions and millions of emails that goes out across the world. And for sure, some people do click those emails and do get into those malicious sites. But as soon as that happens, this network that Microsoft have can catch it and then make sure that the rest of the connected devices don't get attacked with this. And I just shared a small joke in the group here. I don't know, Ara, if you can maybe share it afterward. But there was a circulating on some WhatsApp and some messages this morning. Somebody sent to me that they found a Nigerian guy dead with $27 billion in his apartment in Lagos, and he's been trying for the last 15 years to give it away by sending people emails. obviously, that is not the truth, right? But we still see that people. We had recently one of the top, I think, top politicians in the US or had responded to an Instagram scam, and got hacked via that. So even very senior people who should know better in big organizations, they become victim to this. So for sure, small business are very much at the edge. I will give it back to you, Akfas. I just wanted to enter with this little comment here. Or Ara, or whoever is taking the lead now.
I mean, that was really insightful, Lars.
Yeah.
Ara?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I was actually looking at the joke again that Lars shared. It's actually a meme, so it's really funny. Yeah. So let's just take a quick step back and be sort of like real here for a moment, because for SMBs, one of the issues I think is like budget, right? Like how much can they really spend on a certain solution, right? And there are a lot of free tools and softwares available out there, right? And SMBs might think that they're better off using these than paying for Microsoft Office tools. This is actually a real thing happening out there, right? Now, what's your take on this?
I'll take this, Ara, just to share with you an insight. As we all know, there's nothing called a free lunch. We are knowingly or unknowingly paying a huge value to these so-called free tools out there in the market. In the past, the most lucrative commodity, like shared by Ashik previously, was oil. But now in the digital era, the most demanded element is data. Organizations use this information to understand customer behavior, market trends, and so much more, which is sold back to your competitor to drive offerings to the market. As an organization, you need to strategize your digital transformation. To do this, you need to focus on, I would highlight 3 key pillars. One is you need to be secure, you need to have the ability to scale, and third, you need to complement your business. As an organization, you are responsible for the data you hold. GDPR, which means General Data Protection Regulation, has elements that are sensitive, that state sensitive information such as date of birth, your credit card details, and so on. Microsoft tools that support you to ensure that you are aware of the sensitive information that is being shared to your internal or external stakeholders. Also, let me highlight the Microsoft mission to empower every person and every organization on this planet to achieve more. And we believe in this, and we support every organizations to grow. M365 or O365, depending on the tool you choose, it is built to scale your business. And then to complement your business by tools such as Microsoft Teams, which I think Akfas will take you forward, which is the largest growing platform that helps you to collaborate, enhance your productivity. To understand this better, I think Akfas will do a product demo, which you can understand further. Now, the numbers that are elaborated on this slide, it gives a clear aspects why organizations are moving into a more digitally strategized way forward. So you adapt the right tools, the right elements to contribute to your organization's growth and to have a secure platform. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, does anybody, thank you very much for that.
I can, if you want something added here, I just also wanted to, I'm since I'm not working for Microsoft, I can kind of give an outsider's view on that.
Yeah.
So if you look at the providers of these kind of tools in the market, they are also divided in 2 or 3 different categories, and Microsoft is in the category that they make their money from selling the tools that they make, that they develop. So they're not making money on advertising. Whereof other competitors in the market, they might be able to give low cost or free tools because that's not their business model, right? Microsoft is not a huge retailer, but it's a huge cloud provider. It makes its money from providing the cloud services. So when you look at those companies providing the free tools, there is nothing in this world which is free, as it was rightfully said. But also look at at what is really the core business model of the company that you are getting these so-called free tools from. And it could be that it is a low-cost version of something higher paid, which is the same thing we have in Microsoft Office. We have very low cost clients that you can use for people who don't need that much access or don't access that often. So the competitive advantage of Microsoft is to be able to play across. You cannot find any other paid for tool that is more competitively priced than the Microsoft Office tools.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Lars. And thank you for the insight on that, everybody. And I do agree. Nothing in this world really is free, right? And it's better to spend on something that would really help the organization rather than use something free and put your company at risk. Now, we have one more question, and I think, Akvash, this is really a question best for you. Now, we're talking about Teams a lot. We're mentioning Teams. We're conducting this live webinar actually on Teams. But I think, just for the audience, can you explain Teams further and what really sets this tool apart from others in the market?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be taking you through a demo, and before the demo, I just want to explain this particular concept here. That is, if you really look at Office 365 or Microsoft 365, it has a lot of components for communication. So when do we use what, right? So that is sort of a question that comes into a lot of people. So emails, if you take, so emails remain a popular tool for communication. So it has been there for some time. So we can safely assume that it's almost available to everyone today. And you can be confident that your collaborators have access to email. And email is particularly effective when you intentionally want to restrict conversation to certain people. So if you're on the tour or in the CC, you would receive the email, right? So this is what we call as closed loop. So if it is a closed loop communication, you would rather use email there. But not all communications are to be closed loop, right? I mean, Microsoft Teams, on the other hand, it transforms the way that you work together with people on projects and on shared deliverables, that is. So that is what we call as inner loop. Inner loop is to start to collaborate and share files and folders with the immediate team members or the immediate team that you are working with. Scenarios such as file collaborations and team projects. It basically brings people, communication and collaboration together because Teams is sort of a hub for teamwork to be able to chat in real time, where you can jump onto a call with the same people and also have meetings with that particular people and so on. So we have the closed loop where we usually use email, and then we have the inner loop where we use Teams to collaborate with them. Then we have something called outer loop. So basically, not every time that you within an organization you will start engaging only with your team members, right? You sometimes have to engage or collaborate with members across teams, right? People from your other branches, people from your other divisions, right? Geographies and so on and so forth. Okay, so in situations like that, that is when you use Yammer, which is a social enterprise social networking tool that's available within the Microsoft Office 365 and M365 platform. So let me jump into the Teams part of it. So Teams is basically a platform, a hub for teamwork, where you could have chat, instant messaging, calls, video and audio conferencing, and share content. It could be files, it could be apps, it could be a lot of things that could be shared, and people can start to collaborate and communicate in a secure, trusted way, right? So let me go in and share my screen here. So I hope my screen is visible. All right. So, right. So when we go in, so this showcases the team, right? So this is within Tech1, this is actually what we use, right? So we have teams for almost all the departments that we use, right? That we have basically, we use Teams. Every employee is on Teams, where we start chatting, collaborating, or communicating with them. It could be through instant messaging. It could be through audio or video conferencing as well. Right, and we have teams for different countries because we operate in multiple countries. We have teams for different countries. We have teams for different departments. We have teams for projects that we do, etc. So all of these teams are created for people to share and communicate on a single platform, right? So when you open up Teams, you will see your teams and hidden teams like what is shown here. So inside your teams, those are the teams that you use frequently. The hidden teams are teams which you do not use that frequently. So when you open your teams, these are the teams that I just spoke about. We have teams for different countries, different departments, projects, and so on and so forth, right? So how do you create a team, basically? So before that, let me go through these icons here. Activity basically shows you whatever the activities that have been tagged you or that you have been part of. You can have instant messaging by going into chat. You can start chatting with people, right, or groups, and you can create teams here, which is basically putting up everything to all these components coming in together, right? And you have your calendar here, where you will be able to schedule your meetings, your conferences, everything. And you can have calls, like, you know, if you have used Skype or Skype for Business, similar to that, you can dial a person and start talking to them. And of course, you can share your files. Files can be from different places. It could be from Microsoft Teams. It could be from your own computer, or OneDrive for Business, or the free OneDrive. Apart from that, you have other applications or apps that are hosted on top of Teams that could be used here. I'll show you all of those. And of course, Teams is available on almost all the devices. It could be on your laptop, it could be on your desktop, as well as your mobile as well. Okay, so let me go into Teams and we'll create a team. So how do you create a team? So by clicking on this particular link, you have the options to create a team, or you can also join all the publicly available teams within your organization, right? So I'm just going to create a team. I'm going to create from scratch. I'm going to make it a private team. Public team will list all the team in your teams, create team, so people can see. I'll make it a private team. And I'm going to give a name. I'm going to say webinar 3, right? I'm going to give a description if I want to. And here I can, so it says nice work, good. So I can invite people to be members of my team. So I'm going to invite my colleagues here. So I can add them up. And of course, I want to add people who are external to my organization. Like, let's say I want to add Ashik, right? As well as Abdul. Okay, so let me get him, right? And I'm going to add them all. Okay, so once I do that, teams will add. And if you see, the external people will be able to see as guest, and internal people, I can make them either an owner or a member of this particular group. So I'm just going to close it, and you'll be able to see the team that I just created. So I can start communicating with anyone, or I can start chatting with all the team members in this particular team, right? And people will be able to reply to the messages that I post here. And if I click the @ symbol, I'll be able to select a particular person within this particular team and send the message directly to them, so that they will get the notification instead of sending it to others, right? So that is by typing @ and selecting the person, or multiple people also can be selected. So in the file section, I'll be able to share files, right? And people will be able to, or people who are within that particular team will be able to start interacting with that particular file. So if I create a Word file here, right, I'm going to give a name. Right, so the Word will use Teams and create that particular file. All right, so I'm going to populate this particular file with some data, and you will be able to see that other people will also be able to edit the file while I edit. All right, so I have put some demo data here, right? You will be able to see some of my colleagues will come in and start editing also this particular file. I'm going to leave this file as it is. Now I'm going to go back to the team. I will just end, right? And here I'll also be able to add other apps. So before that, I just want to highlight one more thing. So inside a team, so I've created a team which is here called Webinar 3. The general is called a channel. So likewise, I can create multiple channels, right? A channel basically could be a topic. A team could be a department. A channel could be a project. Let's say, for an example, I create a team for the HR department, right? That channel could be to discuss on KPIs. Another channel could be added to discuss on attendance. Another channel could be discussed on some groups and activities that we are planning. So channels can be like topics that we want to discuss about or talk about or share information about, right? So that the team will be more organized. So that's the whole purpose of having that. So when I go into the team, I'll be able to see, right, add other apps, right? Apps like Planner, apps like Power BI, SharePoint, Yammer, right? Third-party apps that are there. YouTube could be added, or Jira could be added, and so on and so forth. And we are coming up with our own apps for Enodoc document management as well as Flowdo, our workflow automation, right? So all of those details could be added there, right? So I'm going to add a Planner here. A Planner is sort of a mini project management tool, I would say, where you will be able to manage your tasks inside a particular team. So what happens is when we go into meetings with these teams, right, we go discuss a lot of details and we note it down on a piece of paper or on a notebook. We come out and the follow-up meeting happens a week after or in a month. When we go back, boom, nobody does anything because all the action items have been lost or there's no one to follow up or anything like that. But for that, if you have a planner like this, you could give it a name like, action items, let's say, right? And I'm going to save this. So here you would be able to easily create the tasks that are and assign it to the relevant people, right? You can just put up, okay, follow up on sales, right? And set a due date, Friday, all right? Assign it to someone within that particular team, all right? And once you do this, this is going to be in their task, right? And sync to their mobile devices as well. So they'll not be able to, not do it, and they can come back and say whether it is started or not started or whether it is completed and so on, right? Give it a date. If they have any comments or attachments, they can add up, right? So when you keep on going, I'll show you one of the planners that has been completed, that has been done, so that you'll get a hang of it. So this is our marketing planner that we have. So when you go into this, you'll be able to see a lot of tasks have been created and have been given, right? So let me see if I can get hold of one of those. Okay, so I think I lost that. All right, so demo god is not in the favor of me. Fine. So let me go back to another, the same planner that I created. I can go into the charts where I'll be able to see in a view where how many tasks have been assigned, how many tasks have been done and completed and so on, and to whom it has been assigned to and so on, right? And also I can add other applications, like let's say for an example, I add the Power BI part, all right? So here I'm going to add up a Power BI dashboard. Let's say I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to select a sample data set for human resources, or let me select a sample data set that I have for sales and marketing, right? So these sample data sets could be from anywhere. It could be from an Excel file, it could be from your ERP or CRM, it could be from any data source which we can retrieve or extract data from. And once you pass it on to Power BI, it gives you this, perfectly mind-blowing charts where you will be able to drill down your details, you will be able to visualize your details and take decisions which will help the management, and will help even yourself to take some informed decisions. So based on the data, how much data that you have, you will be able to drill down and get all of these details. Okay, so similarly, you will be able to add so many other apps that are there. And also, Teams helps us to schedule meetings, right? Let's say, for an example, we have every week we have review meetings, or monthly we have regional meetings where people from other branches, other offices travel to the head office to meet someone, right? In a scenario like that, you could easily have those meetings done through Teams by scheduling. Let's say this is the team, you could either click on this particular button here, say meet now, and you'll be able to schedule the meeting, or just say meet now by adding a particular title here, and everybody's devices would ring and they'll be able to join that particular call. Or you will be able to even schedule the meeting similar to Outlook calendar. You'll be able to put a title, the location, the channel is, and the team is already selected here. You can invite the relevant people whom you want to invite within that particular team, and then you can schedule, and it will be synced with your Outlook calendar and your mobile devices also. So those are some of the features that Teams has, but Teams has way more than that, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are interested, let us know, and we'll be able to come and help you on all of these features and train you on.
All right, thank you very much, Akvash, for that wonderful demo. And I think it has raised a lot of, interest in our audience, because we actually received a lot of questions. So let's actually open the lines for Q&A. Okay. Sorry. Okay, just 1 second. Okay. So for our first question, how fluid is M365 in terms of third-party integrations, like with CRMs, accounting tools, etc.?
Hey, Ara, I think it's a very good and a valid question. I believe this was one area that I kind of explained how even Lars kind of said in terms of the mindset, how we adapt technology. And it's not only about adapting technology, but also how we integrate it with one another. So when it comes to Microsoft 365 or any others in terms of Office 365, whichever, we do have CRM solutions which can be integrated, which is also of our own, which is called Dynamics 365, which is a CRM platform. Or we also have introduced some of our very own partners in the ecosystem who also has built very comprehensive and very simple CRM solutions, which is also complementing and integratable with Microsoft 365. So yes, we can, and we have solutions that we can leverage to help integrate it.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Now we have a second question coming in from Ahoshan from Dhaka. Now, the question is, how can M365 or O365 be integrated or integrate HR and administrative systems in an organization?
Again, it reflects back to the previous question as well. So we do have some similar solutions which enables that facility and also our partner solutions. But again, I would also like to reiterate one of the areas of demos I believe Akvash also mentioned. So with the use of Microsoft Teams also, we are enabling tools like Excel to be I mean, nowadays Excel is the predominant use of Office applications in any organization, where almost the payroll to even the HR relatable information is mentioned. But if you want to make it visualized, we have a tool called Power BI. We can visually represent them and integrate it with Teams as well. But if you're looking from an operational perspective, like HR per se solutions, yes, we do have certain solutions which is built and integratable with our platform, which is being Microsoft 365.
All right, thank you very much for that answer. Now, this other question is actually quite interesting. So, since there are several retiring services or tools from Microsoft, anything we should look forward to, like new additions to M365, adjustments to technologies, etc.?
Well, sorry, am I still audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so we do have, I believe this goes back to Abdul Qadir's comment with regards to certain end of support licenses. So I think Abdul also will add in. So yes, when it comes to the operating system, as you all already know, Windows XP is of end of life, and we have few customers who are still predominantly in existence of Windows XP. Then when it comes to end of support, yes, we do have Windows 7 and the Windows Server and even the SQL versions coming to end of support. So in certain terms, when it comes to relating to M365, I believe the answer to that would be towards the Windows 7 end of support, where organizations today could also look into how to mitigate the upgrade by upgrading into a product being Microsoft 365, which enables them with the Windows 10 upgrade facility, along with the Office package, which again, I would reflect back on certain versions of Office also coming to an end and being end of life. And also the added benefit of having the Windows device management, which is the Enterprise Mobility Suite, which is a secured environment, enabling all the devices to be well maintained and managed with secured tunnels within the organization. So yes, I hope that answers the question. So these messages are still going ahead in terms of how we address and educate our customers. So of course,
So on top of what Ashik mentioned, and the question also iterates if they should look forward to like new additions. So we should understand that Office 365 and M365 are cloud products, right? So all of these cloud related solutions, organizations like Microsoft, they keep investing quite a lot on developing and releasing new functions and features every single month or quarter or half years and so on, right? So definitely there is a published roadmap for it, which is available online, that could be seen with what is coming up and what are the upcoming features. And of course, if it is Windows, definitely the Windows Insider channel where people can go and sign up helps you to get the pre-builds and look into yourself what is coming up, which is free. And of course, these products are evolving day by day. It's just mind-blowing to see what are the new features that comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think just to add to that, I think one of the one aspect of this question is like Skype for Business is retiring soon, right? Microsoft made an announcement on that, and I think a good way to something to look forward to really is for more and more people to utilize Teams, right? So yeah.
Correct. I mean, Skype for Business Online will be retiring, and Teams will be replacing that.
Yes. All right. So we have another question. This is actually a two-part question from Kamal. Now, first part is, which learning sequence should an organization follow to get the best out of it, I think 365, and he's saying that they have a 365 licenses, I think, and sporadically they're into it. Also, how can outside organizations have calls or meetings with them?
Okay, to go to, I think that was Kamal's question you mentioned. So with regards to, I mean, first of all, great to hear that you are on Office 365. That's one, it's really great to hear that you're using almost all the features. So one other way that you could also be up to date in terms of all the features that we are unleashing and releasing in terms of betterment of the usage is also being part of the Windows, rather the Modern Workplace blog, which I think we should be able to publish it as well. And apart from that, we also conduct sessions every week, I believe, through our partners, even webinars like these, even with Microsoft-driven programs, which also helps us to drive that message. And let alone, if you're a signed Office 365 customer, you also get notifications and emails with regards to the new releases and what you all are getting out of what you already have. So keeping eye on those is very essential and prudent in terms of to making and maximizing the best use of what you have in your organization.
And
also, to adding to the second question raised by Kamal, you can conduct your meetings and calls with external stakeholders, regardless of what platform they are. That will be an invitation. I think Akfash can pitch in and share, because he invited us as well.
Yeah. Bringing in external party could be in the tenant level, where the administrator should enable that particular function, where they should be able to invite people from outside to come into your organization. That's addressing the second one. But to also add on to what Ashik said, I think the learning sequence should happen both ways. That is, from the top as well as from the bottom. That should be from the top management, senior management. Also, the user level, business users also should learn these functions, these features, so that the digital transformation and this change would happen smoothly. Otherwise, the top would know, the bottom wouldn't know, and it will not happen, and vice versa, right? So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Thank you, Akash, thank you, Ashik, thank you, Abdul, and thank you to my co-host as well, Lars, for answering all the questions. Now, unfortunately, that is all the time we have left, but thank you everybody for sending in your questions. Now, don't go just yet, because we have great news. Now, for a limited time, you can get Office 365 Business Essential for only $2.50 per user per month, Office 365 Business Premium for only $10 per user per month, and Anadoc for only $99 for one department. Now, you can find out more about these promos by sending an email to aliana@techoneglobal.com. And that's it for this week. Now, if you missed some parts of this live webinar, don't worry, because it will be available on demand. Now, if you're interested to start your organization's digital transformation journey, we'll be happy to help. Just send an email to aliana@techoneglobal.com and we'll give you a one-to-one consultation for free. Now, again, thank you everybody for joining us this week and for being with us in this 3-part webinar series. We hope you picked up a thing or two from our experts, and we look forward to seeing you all next time.